Okay, let's unpack this. I mean, how often do you try to manufacture confidence for a big moment through, sheer willpower?
Oh, yeah, like you just clench your fists and try to force yourself to be brave.
Exactly. Today, our mission is to explore the March 20th entry of the Rhapsody of Realities devotional by Pastor Chris.
Right, and this particular entry is titled, Boldness is of the Spirit.
So jumping in, that default strategy we were just talking about, that sort of human willpower thing.
Yeah, that white-knuckling your way to bravery, that is actually what this devotional actively pushes against.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Pastor Chris contrasts our innate human willpower with a completely different source of empowerment. He points to Ephesians 5:18 to argue that true confidence, it doesn't come from psyching yourself up.
So where does it come from?
Well, the text claims it comes from an external spiritual source, specifically being filled with the Spirit.
Which is fascinating because I notice he makes this really specific comparison there. He warns against being drunk with wine.
Right, yeah.
And that analogy maps perfectly onto how a lot of us operate. Like, people use alcohol as liquid courage all the time to just artificially lower their inhibitions.
Oh, totally. But he's contrasting that fleeting chemical crutch with the lasting internal courage. He's saying that the courage that comes from being filled with the Spirit isn't temporary.
Right. So if spiritual boldness replaces human willpower, what does that transformation actually look like in practice?
Well, the author brings in a historical example to illustrate this. He talks about Simon Peter. And before receiving the Holy Spirit, Peter was incredibly timid. The text actually describes him as a reed, shaken by the wind.
Because he's the one who denied even knowing Jesus when things got really dangerous, right?
Exactly. He was basically the definition of anxious and fearful.
But then there's this dramatic overnight shift.
Yeah, at Pentecost, after that massive spiritual outpouring, Peter stands before this huge crowd and preaches boldly. So the timid reed basically becomes Peter the Rock.
Okay, wait, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Does the text explain the actual mechanism? I mean, how does that switch get flipped from timid to bold? You can't just decide to be a rock.
Right, no, you can't. And the author does explain the mechanism. He uses 1 Corinthians 14:4, which talks about speaking in an unknown tongue.
Okay.
The argument is that speaking in tongues edifies the speaker, and the text explicitly defines that word, edifieth, as emboldening oneself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the physical act of the spiritual practice is what supposedly stirs up the internal boldness.
So what does this all mean for daily life? Because it sounds almost like maintaining a battery charge.
That's a really good way to put it, actually.
Like you have to actively plug into these specific practices so confidence becomes your natural baseline. You can't just charge it once and walk away.
Exactly. And the author details that maintenance using Ephesians 5:19 through 21.
Okay, what's the formula there?
It involves speaking to yourselves in psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, making melody in your heart, giving thanks, and submitting to one another.
Oh, so it's a very active, ongoing process.
Yeah, the premise is that by cultivating the specific internal environment, boldness just naturally occurs.
You don't have to force it anymore. So to sum it up, the text portrays boldness not as a fixed personality trait, like you aren't just born brave or timid, but as a byproduct of specific spiritual practices.
Right.
And for anyone wanting to read the source material directly, you can find more information at rhapsodyofrealities.org.
It really is a complete paradigm shift from external preparation to an internal condition.
Which leads us with this final provocative thought to mull over. If this devotional defines ultimate boldness as something cultivated entirely through internal alignment rather than, external preparation, how might applying a similar philosophy change the way you approach your own public speaking anxieties?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Like, what if instead of over-preparing your notes and trying to manufacture bravery, you focus strictly on your internal grounding first? It just might change everything.
We trust you were blessed by this episode. To gain unlimited access to Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, please download the Rhapsody app using the link myapp.rhapsodyofrealities.org. God bless you.